Farrell, big win for the team tonight. What were your initial thoughts on the win?
I thought we stuck with it. I think, we probably didn't get off to the start that we wanted, but we bounced back and our penalty kill came up huge, and then we, grinded it out at the end of the game.
You were part of two big goals in that second period there. Talk about the first one there. You get on the forward check, and that leads to Czarnik getting another goal.
Yeah, I think a big part of our line is, we're not just skill guys, but we want to, work hard and get on the forward check. And, we were able to create a turnover there, and then Luff makes a good play to Z, and he scores there.
Well, obviously you guys have some skill. I mean, we saw that with the East Lansing, and then a nice goal you had on Askarov there. You picked the top corner. I mean, you obviously have a good shot there, and you're able to make it work on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I think Laffer makes a good play on the ball, and we're able to get in transition, and I think that's where our line really thrives and can make plays. So it's good to see us getting some chemistry early in the season.
You get 2 wins in your first little homestand here. Now you're going on a really long 8-game road trip here. Is that kind of a daunting task for the locker room to go on a big road trip right off the hop, or do you think maybe that's a good time to maybe get accumulated with the teammates?
Yeah, I think it'll be good for the team. I think 6 hours on the bus tomorrow will you'll really get used to your teammates there. So I think we're looking forward to it. We got some good places to go, Toronto, and then I know Texas after that. So I think it'll be good for the team and bonding together.
Well, Kirill, team gets another win tonight. You yourself, second goal of the season. Talk about that goal that ended up being the game winner.
It was good face off. Guys made a good job, so I just needed to finish it. That's it.
Obviously a good play. And now you have 2 goals on the season too after not scoring last year, after only playing a little bit too. How's it feel for you how you're starting this season with the Griffins?
I've been out a lot, so yeah, I've missed hockey, so I'm so happy to be back. Obviously, so good emotions every game. So good to me.
How are you starting to mold in with the team here? Obviously, this team's only been together about a week and a half now. How is this group coming together before this nice long road trip?
I can say it's new team if compared with last year. A lot of new guys, but it's a really good group of guys. We so good together. I don't know. I just like them. Really good guys.
That's obviously good. And how have you developed your skills over the off season coming into this year to better yourself as you move on in your pro career here?
I mean, are you talking about this summer?
Yeah.
I've been in Russia this summer in my hometown. I've been working a lot, so I had too many hours on ice and off ice too. So I've been working some stuff because I was going to improve myself, and I hope I did it.
Any little things? Any work on defense, shooting, anything?
In particular, it was maybe skating, shooting, and I was going to get stronger in the gym. So.
Well, Cossa, one's professional start, one professional win. How does it feel?
Yeah, it felt great. I think just the team played a really good game for 60 minutes there. Obviously, Milwaukee came out and pushed hard in the first 20, and I think the last 40 there we really shut it down and got some key blocks.
It really looked like you started to find a groove too with all those shots in the first period too. Did that kind of help you get kind of accumulated to the rate of professional play a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a little nervous going into the first one tonight, and I thought just focusing on the first shot, and obviously, they got a couple early, so it was nice just kind of feeling the puck out.
You obviously played a little bit in the preseason with the Red Wings there, but jumping from the Western League, where you obviously put up great numbers, coming to a first full season of professional hockey, how have you felt the transition has gone so far?
I think I've taken it in stride. There's there's a lot of good vets and coaches around, helping me on my process, but and also quite a bit of guys that are doing this for the first time as well. So I think we're all kind of bouncing heads off each other, and just trying to make it as easy as possible. So personally for me, it's just taking it day by day right now, and just continuing to develop and working as hard as I can. So I think I've made the jump pretty smoothly so far, and just continue to do that.
Obviously, there's a lot of expectations for you from the Red Wings, but obviously there's a goaltending battle with you, Victor, and UC right now. How do you feel, the 3 of you right now kind of sharing the net?
Yeah, obviously, just 3 good goalies, so those decisions don't lie up to me. So the other 2 goalies are exceptional goalies, and at the end of the day, the management's going to make that decision. So all 3 of us are just going out there and trying to get better as a group, and just trying to help this team win.
What have the Red Wings kind of asked of you to kind of work on as you go to your first professional season here to develop to hopefully one day make it to the NHL?
Yeah, I think obviously the number one thing is just, the work ethic. No matter if I'm playing lights out or if I have a tough one, I think the most important thing is coming to the rink the next day and working as hard as I can. Obviously there's a lot of things going on with the goalie coaches right now, and technique wise, just keeping my feet underneath me, keeping good angles to the shooters, releasing off the shot and stuff like that. But, I think the biggest thing for me right now is just, the work ethic. They have the coaches here that are going to help me develop, and, I just got to put the work in. Awesome.
Next up is Jamal Spencer from WZZM 13.
Sebastian, what was your reaction after you let in that first goal? Was it one of those things where, it could calm you down, or was that something where you kind of got a little bit more focused after that first goal got in the first period? Kind of what happened after that for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I think it kind of does not calm you down, but, it's that's the first one, and, hopefully that's the last one, but it's out of the way. So obviously I think, it's one I want back for sure, but, with it going in, just try to settle down more and give my team a chance to win.
And then getting the opportunity to play in this building, obviously, kind of you making this first AHL start, kind of what were the emotions like throughout the night, and kind of how do you summarize it all?
Yeah, it was great. Coming out of that tunnel there, for starting lineups, kind of like our home opener, sorry. But yeah, for Wednesday night, this place was rocking. So, it was awesome playing here for the first time, and, can't wait for many more.
Thanks,
Elaine,
Thanks.
Elaine Shercliffe from Full Press Hockey.
What was kind of going through your mind during that first power play when you were behind the net and those two Milwaukee guys were just barreling down towards you?
Well, yeah. When their penalty kill, they had some pressure coming down on goalie touches there. So obviously I was just trying to beat the first guy and, give us a little break there. There wasn't really an option open, so he came at me and just did a little spin there, and luckily got it over to our guy, and we broke it out from there.
Is that a fast on the fly play something that you feel like you excel in?
Yeah, I think it just, it's reading the play, just making sure you have your head up and you see the guys coming at you, so you can make a decision at that play.
You had a few bold moves that worked out well for you during the game, one of which was rushing to the top of that slot to whack that puck away. Is that like your style of play, or is that just like a on the fly moment where you're like, I don't want that guy anywhere near my net?
Yeah, well, I think I did the same thing at World Juniors there, and it was much better timing here, luckily. But yeah, I think I had a better chance at getting that puck to him, and if I didn't, he was going to be on a breakaway. So I'd rather take my chances, and I got out there pretty quick, so I was happy with it.
Yeah, and one more for me. What do you plan on working on or trying to keep doing to keep yourself as maybe like the starter for the team, or be able to slot in more?
I think just winning hockey games. At the end of the day, this is a professional league, and everyone wants to win. So at the end of the day, there is development, but it's regular season, and points mean a lot right now. So team's trying to have a good start, and just trying to prove everything that I have a chance, and I can have help the team win. At the end of the day, that's the biggest thing for me right now.
Team in.
Next up is Patrick Williams with the AHL.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations, Sebastian.
Thanks.
You've played obviously Memorial Cup, World Junior, high level competition. What's different here in this league in terms of your reads and the things you're able to do as a goaltender?
Yeah, I think obviously there's older guys in this league. I think there's bigger, heavier or taller. So I think guys are just older and they're thicker. So it's definitely a lot harder to see around guys when the puck's at the point. Obviously just the amount of execution, I'd say. Obviously at this higher level pro hockey, guys aren't whiffing on a lot of shots, and they're making clean tape to tape passes on most passes there. So I think it's just kind of execution there.
And then just in terms of, communication with your defense core, how long does that take to get into the flow of that? You can do it in practice, but, once you get into game action.
Yeah, I think, obviously it is different in the game with guys forechecking you. So obviously, I thought tonight there was a couple that I let go a little too early. I thought there were some good plays too. So just kind of watch a video after that and, talk with my defenseman during practice and just try and fix that.
Hi. What was the decision behind having Cossa start tonight?
Hi, Elaine. Thanks for the question. Tonight, Goalies knew that going in, each goalie would start out basically UC and Victor, and then Sebastian would get that start last weekend on Friday night, I believe it was, that he went down to Kalamazoo and played for Toledo, made 29 of 31 stops, and then he ultimately earned this opportunity. And tonight did a good job of it. So it was a nice win for him, and one to remember for sure for his first pro win.
And now, how are you guys kind of feeling about his more bold plays tonight, like rushing up to the slot, slapping the puck away? I mean, those are, to me, are good qualities. But as a coach, do you find that to be a good quality from him?
Absolutely, it shows that he has instinct. He's reading the play. There's no tentativeness. He's not being conservative. He's being assertive in his decision making, and it showed multiple times tonight. He did a good job of assessing plays low to high, seeing pucks through traffic, and ultimately, he made a couple more stops than the other guy.
Yeah, and how do you juggle the responsibility of developing a player's skills while knowing that you also have to give others ice time if they're doing just as well or better to keep them competitive as well?
Good question. That's a hard part at this level. They all three are competitive, and they deserve each one of them the attention from me on a daily basis, which we communicate well, both through video, on, off the ice, and then during goalie sessions and in practice. And then it's just developing the relationship with them away from the rink as well, that you can get to know them as people and how they operate. And when it comes down to playing, they know they have to be spot on every time they get the net, and that's the tough part. That's what you sign up for, and especially we have two young draft picks, obviously in Broadstrom and Cossa, and then Okonor coming over from Russia, and being a good experienced pro, it provides a lot of competitiveness throughout this year.
Yeah, and then the last one for me. Do you think it helps these young guys to be successful when you have guys on the team that they can practice with, like Hirose and even Matt Luff? They really came out tonight, and I think about how he would have to practice against that.
Yes, they all have really good shots. Luff has probably one of the best shots, as well as Czarnik on the team. And just to see that translation and transition game to game, seeing the top end shooters in this league is going to help a guy like Sebastian Cossa long term. That transition up to the NHL one day, seeing that type of quality shooter. Yes, you're going to see more quality shooters as you go up a level, and speed of play. But just that alone in a practice on a daily basis and getting his reps in is going to help out a lot.
Next up, Patrick Williams, theAHL.com.
Yes, Brian, coaches will often say with, defensemen and forwards coming out of junior that they have to break bad habits. What kind of habits do you find that you have to break with a young goalie coming in from junior?
Well, he has several attributes that we like. And that's a good
Yeah.
question, Patrick. The one thing is you got to develop how they work with their skating. And it's not just their skating stride in general, it's how they maneuver throughout their entire crease, how they work in the entire time. And that's what we develop here, is how are they getting from spot to spot, and is it I like to use the word engaged, they moving consistently from point A to point B, and then they're able to be set and then recover properly. And that's the one thing we've been really working and harping on with Sebastian, is just being shot ready and then being able to recover and maneuver such a big body from that spot to the next spot, whether it be towards his post, whether it be under his angle, towards the next play, etc. So that's the one area we've been working on a lot. And then the other thing is just getting used to the type of transition, the speed of the play, and how that's going to affect his overall game plan.
And then just, for you as a goalie coach, you kind of have three goalies in three different stages of their careers. You have UC, who's obviously a very experienced European pro. You have Bradstrom, who's got some experience, and now you have a young player coming in from junior. How does that challenge you, managing kind of players at three different stages of their career?
it's a fun challenge. I like it every day. I wake up and now it's something new where I'm dealing with a 19-year-old, I'm dealing with
Mhm.
a 25-year-old and a 32-year-old. Just
Mhm.
like you said, with UC, it's a little bit more, okay, get used to North American style of play again.
Yeah.
Keep it very simple. He is 32 years old. We can still teach, but keep it to a minimum and focus on tendencies that worked potentially over in Europe, that I could potentially help him tweak over here. Just
Mhm.
subtle discrepancies that can help him, and almost something that's thought proof. Whereas Victor made a turn the page halfway through the year last year, especially when Picks got hurt in Pittsburgh, and he was able to play. I think it was 15 of the last 17 games,
Mhm.
and he made a lot of steps in the sense that he became a better skater, a better puck handler. He changed his depths. He used to be conservative. Now he's more assertive and aggressive. He became more controlled when he was actually in his butterfly. His posture became better. These are all little nuances that had to become better so that he'd have success. And then it's also for him, it was cultural coming over here, getting used to North America, just being in Sweden all the time or in
Mhm.
Finland. It's a different type of culture and atmosphere,
Yeah.
how they live as people. And so he bonded well, and he's such a good teammate. He bonded well with all those players. And then now Sebastian, now it's that transition from, you play with 4, 5, 6 NHL players on your junior team. Now every player at this level, for the most
Mhm.
part, is a good hockey player. And now it's seeing that speed and adjusting and acclimating every day and developing a routine on a daily basis. And for Sebastian, he is 19, and it's
Yeah.
just teaching him the right way from start to finish daily basis. And it's going through all those, how you get to the rink, how you prepare nutritionally, hydration, all that stuff. Just all that stuff, even beyond goaltending,
Mhm.
how you work out properly. These are all things that people, I think, in general would think, oh, well, it's just naturally comes to them. No, it's a step-by-step process,
Mhm.
and you help them out so that they can get, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it'll be a completely different person and heading in the right direction.
Great. Thank you.
We'll finish up in the room with Tyler Kuehl from MLive.
Brian, you kind of piggybacking off Patrick's question, having 3 different goaltenders and working with them a lot. How is it when you bring in a goaltender, either from junior, from overseas, whatnot? They work on fine tuning because obviously they have their own styles that help them develop into what is a professional goaltender.
Yes.
What do you do to fine tune them but not completely alter their styles from what they were comfortable with?
For sure. So you find their strengths right away when you pre-scout when we recruit them and they sign. You find their strengths, and then you go to the goaltender because he's the one playing. Okay, what do you like, and then now what do you want to alter? And now the alter part is we see discrepancies in their game from goalie session to practice to game. Now after game 1, 2, 3, 4 that goalie plays, now we can identify it could be a depth thing that we change. And with UC, it could be something as subtle as that, or is it simple tracking? Like it's a matter for UC. Things happen different because it was a wider ice surface. And now it's really congested. Everyone's to the net front. Everyone crashes. There's a lot of broken plays. So it could be a little bit of traffic. It could be a little bit of patience. It could be a little bit of depth. It's just subtle little details. And it's not, like I said, the earlier question that was asked, it's almost, you becomes thought proof. It's just subtle nuances that you just reminders during a practice or a goalie session. And that was the one thing with Victor, that he was very conservative at the start of the year, and he was getting beat on clear sight shots from, the dots or the top of the circles, where if you just added, just because he's a big body, you add that, 1.5 2 feet more of depth, pucks are hitting you, even if you're not seeing it all the way in. So those are little things that we focus on a daily basis when it comes to a video session, a goalie session.
So now, like we said, we've seen all 3 goaltenders in the first 3 games. Big long road trip coming up here. How long is the team gonna utilize the 3 goaltenders before we see maybe a number 1 or a 1A, 1B kind of step forward?
Well, I think that plays itself out. Naturally, those guys are competitors every day. They show up for work. They want to get better, and they want to provide wins for the team. That's why you sign up for this, is to win. And as long as we're seeing progress from all 3 and they're competing, they're probably going to fight for the net and play. And ultimately, that's up to management as to where guys sit, where guys go, et cetera. And all I can do is just help prepare these guys and make sure they're comfortable and fired up when they play. That's the most important, and that they're learning on a daily basis. They don't feel like they're they're stalled. Like they want to feel like they're progressing. They're working up the ladder daily.
Hey, Ben,
Hi, Jamal.
I wanted to know what you saw out of Sebastian tonight. Obviously, just his first game in the American Hockey League, but he kind of mentioned that after he let in that first one, it didn't necessarily calm him down, but kind of, refocused him. So kind of what did you see from Sebastian tonight?
No, anytime you're playing your his first pro game at this level, you're excited, you're anxious, you're nervous, there's a lot of emotions that go into it, and you're ready for the challenge. And then sometimes those nerves can get the best of you. So, for a young kid coming in and being ready for his first game, I thought all in all, take away that first goal is a little bit off his angle, but I thought he settled in nicely and he played with confidence.
Perfect. And as a follow-up, one last question, obviously, kind of the things that you want to see him get better at, as tonight was obviously just kind of like a benchmark, just a starting point, the type of things you want to see him continue to improve, the type of things that stood out to you to build off of.
Well, he's no, goalies are no different than forwards and defensemen. There are always things to get better at. There are always things to improve at. And just as a whole, I think he's just got to focus on, especially with young kids, is consistently getting better in it just a little bit on a daily basis, and not being so broad. Focus on one or two things, get better at, improve that, and maybe focus on, kind of bring everything along a little bit. But with our staff that we have, with Brian Mahoney-Wilson's put a lot of time in with him. Phil O'Sear's done a fantastic job with him. But between those guys, they're doing a great job, and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Next up is Patrick Williams.
Yeah, Ben, with a goalie, that they obviously have a goalie coach. Where does the head coach fit into that whole development process with a young goalie?
It's a good question, Patrick, because I will not profess to be a goalie coach and all the idiosyncrasies and the craziness that comes with it. For me, they've got one job: it's to stop the puck.
Yeah.
But it's obviously not that simple. And I will defer to those guys. They've got a lot more experience in that department, and they've got a lot more of a knack to identify those strengths, weaknesses, deficiencies. They're hired for a reason. We've got the best in the business, so I work with them and I welcome their input. And obviously, they've done a good job here. So.
And then you mentioned you work with them. Kind of what goes into that, though? What's the give and take between Brian and yourself with a goalie?
I mean, Brian's done a fantastic job. Really, he's been here for 7 years now. So I think as a staff here, just the comfortability between myself and our relationship, we've had battles where, on a night where where I think he may have saved the puck, he's a little bit maybe defensive of the goalies, but he's got a vested interest in these guys, and he's put in time with a lot of these guys. And as you develop these relationships with these players, you do want to get their backs. And I think he does that. He genuinely cares about these players' careers, not only their hockey careers as players, but also as people. So I respect the hell out of that. And I think he does a tremendous job. He works extremely hard and has probably one of the highest attention to detail with how he approaches his daily process and how he's working with these kids. So, we're lucky to have him on our staff.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
On to Elaine Shercliffe.
What do you think some of the differences were between the power play this weekend and the power play tonight, and why it didn't work as well?
Well, I thought we were trying to force things that weren't there. I don't think that we executed very well, and you're going to have those kind of nights. I think all in all, the game in and of itself wasn't a great game. I thought it was sloppy. I thought in the first period we came out flat. I thought the second period they came out a little flat, and the third period got a little bit of life, a little bit more action going back and forth. But it's tough to pinpoint why that happens. But the ice conditions weren't great tonight. But that's no excuse. The same teams are playing on it. So I don't know why the power play wasn't great tonight. I do know that we've got two really good units that are more than capable, and sometimes the puck doesn't go in, but I just think we need to execute a little bit more.
And you had a little bit of muscle tonight. I know Jared, because Mick Isaac, he tried his hardest to stop that goal. It kind of speak to the guys that are trying, like they're just hustling really hard to try to prevent those, and what they can do to kind of help finish and prevent that from happening.
Well, I think a lot of our young defensemen especially, it's based on experience. You've got to go through some ups, some downs, but you're competing against men, and Jared McIsaac's no different. This is really his second year pro, even though he's been a third year pro. He missed an entire season, but just learning to body positioning at the net front, strength at the net front, and if you can't outmuscle people because you aren't as strong, you have to use your hockey sense to try and put yourself in a position so as not to be exposed with your size or strength. But I do think our D-core in general, I think our team in general has a high compete level, and if you've got a high compete level and you're willing to do those little things, it'll take care of itself.
And then last one for me, if you could kind of quickly speak to what Matt Luff is bringing to the team this season.
Yeah, Luffer has been a pleasant addition. He's a good guy to be around. He's got a good sense of humor. He's just a pleasant presence. He's good with the guys in the room, good with the young kids. He's got obviously a heck of a hockey player. He's had success at the American level. He's got a taste of the NHL level, and we're happy that we get the chance to work with him this year. Sorry.
We'll finish up in the room with Tyler Kuehl.
Coach, obviously, 6 goals opening night, gave up 5 the next night. Now only 2 tonight, though. How do you think this game looks compared to the first 2 of the season?
Well, again, tonight was a little bit just sloppy for whatever reason, but there's a big concert before, and so that did have something to do with it. But our guys, credit to our arena crew for getting the arena back into working order, and they did a quick turnaround in about 6 hours. So I'll give Kevin Abbott a little shout out there to his staff for getting it done. But for me, when you give up 6 goals your first game, 5 the second, 2, you're seeing progress in D-zone coverage. And when you have good defensive zone play, you're spending less time in your zone, and therefore you're probably going to have more time out of your zone in the offensive zone with the puck.
Talk about the play of Czarnik so far. 4 goals in the last 2 games. That line with him and Hirose on it, and as well. And those guys have been really clicking.
Yeah, no, that line's been great. So again, we're going to rely on them heavily to help drive our offensive train, but it can't just be one line. Obviously those are 3 established players in this league, have had success in this league, and we can't rely on those 3 guys, but we got to have other guys contributing. So they're not going to be scoring every game, and I know that they know that they will probably go through a couple of dry. I hope they don't, but they will probably go through some dry spells and not as effective. But when those games do happen, we need other lines to step up.
One guy that did contribute, though, is Tyutyayev. He's got 2 goals in the first 3 games of the season so far. He's obviously had a real rough road coming into this year, missing some time. And how do you think he's played so far?
Toots, I've got all the time on the road for Kirill. He's just a fantastic kid. He is a fun personality. He loves the rink. He loves hockey. And to see him rewarded, he's working hard, and to see him rewarded in back-to-back games scoring goals is great. So I think he's doing things the right way. He's playing the right way. And because of that, he is being rewarded.
That's 2 questions for me. You got a big road trip coming up here. Do you like having a road trip right off the hop like this? After a few home games, and not going to see you until next month here at the Van. How do you think the road trip's going to do for the team?
Yeah, well, I do think it's good to get on the road and spend some time as a group. But again, we've gone through years. We've gone right off the bat. We practice for 2 days and we head out to California for a week and then come back. But we've been together for now, almost 10 days. By this time, we've got to know each other a little bit. So because we've been together for a little bit and then go on the road, I think that's going to be a little bit more beneficial. And so you do look forward to those road trips and getting together as a team.
Last question, do we have an update on Berggren or Edvinsson?
Both those guys are day to day. Berg obviously took a hit the other night. we're not rushing him back. If this were Game 7 of the Calder Cup playoffs, then maybe we would rush him a little bit. And same thing with Simon. Just precautionary. Again, this is the third game of the year. We don't want to push him back and force something that maybe could lead to having him out for 5 or 6 games in a row. So we're just in day to day, we're hopeful. I guess generic line, we're hopefully get back sooner rather than later.